Good evening, everyone. This is just here. I just thought I'd come and share some meditations that I've had just this evening whilst I was coming home. I'd been to Civic. I had a bite to eat, and I was coming home. I've caught the 26 home to tell. And then whilst I was on the bus, I was having some thoughts. I was remembering some ideas that I'd shared previously in the previous video, actually, about the link between Rome and Israel. How Pompey, Julius Caesar, and Augustus paralleled with King Saul, King David, and King Solomon, and how they two seem to collide. I was thinking about that, and I was thinking deeper on that, and I actually realized that I'd actually read the book of Yashar before. The book of Yashar is quoted in Joshua chapter 10 verse 13. It's referred to as the book of the upright. And what really that book is that it's a depiction of the history of Israel, starting from our first parents, Adam and Eve, all the way through the stories of Enoch, Noah, to the patriarchs, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Joseph and his 11 brothers, and their children, how they got into Egypt, and continues to detail their history all the way up until the time of Joshua. And it's a very powerful book. It's very informative, very deep. Many of the things that you read in the book of Genesis and Exodus, when you read the book of Yashar, you'll get a deeper and clearer understanding of what Moses was really saying, because some things in the Bible are really hard to understand. But when you read the book of Yashar, you understand deeper and clearer why things were the way they were, and what God meant, some of the things that he had said in the books of Moses. So it's a very useful read. But in my previous video about from Rome to Israel, I depicted that there were similarities between the reigns of, like I said before, Pompey, Julius Caesar, and Augustus, and King Saul, King David, and King Solomon. And I noted how they actually matched the signs of the zodiac. How first there is Gemini, of which King Saul's ancestor Benjamin is a perfect depiction of what a Gemini is. So Gemini, and then Cancer, and then Leo. And in the same way as Cancer follows Gemini and Leo follows Cancer, King Saul Benjamin was the first king of Israel. Then King David took on the Cancer part because he established the reigns for Leo to take over and continue the reign. And in the same way, that's how it flowed. Like, I linked it a bit to the signs of the zodiac. And on a deeper note, I believe the first sign of the zodiac to begin is Pisces. So Pisces, you can link, if you want to follow the order of Gemini, Cancer, and Leo. You can say that Pisces was when Moses led the children of Israel out of Egypt and established the reign of the priests, who were the first rulers of the children of Israel. So the priests came to rule because the Pisces represents the priestly tribe of Levi in the Bible. So first the priests came to rule, and then after the priests came to rule, the two signs that followed after were Aries to Ram, and then Taurus. So Pisces, Aries to Ram. So after the priests ruled, the next two ages were the ages of the ram and of the bull, until the Gemini king came in, who was followed by the king of Cancer, who was succeeded by his son, the lion Leo. You can say it like that. But yeah, I linked, I noted how those three kings on the side of Rome and on the side of Israel parallel. How the stories of David and Julius Caesar, how they matched. How on one end, many of the attributes that Julius Caesar exhibited were the same that King David also exhibited. And how in their rise to power and their flow of their powers, they all aligned with each other perfectly. In the sense that when Pompey died, when the brother of Cleopatra killed Pompey as a reward to Caesar, because Caesar was stronger, so that Caesar will help him. When they delivered his head, rather than Caesar celebrating, he lamented of his dear friend that he respected and loved. And in the same angle, when King Saul died, and the Amalekites ran to King David and wanted to boast how he killed his enemy, King David rather killed the Amalekites and wrote a psalm in honor of King Saul and his son Jonathan. And also another similarity is also that King Solomon took over from King David at the age of 17, and Augustus was only 1 year older than King Solomon when he received his inheritance from Caesar. So the two of them parallel. But in my first video, I mentioned all that. But after I made the video, I started reasoning and thinking a bit more, like meditating, trying to understand it more than I did then, seeing if I can get deeper. Because they did parallel. And I did mention that they parallel because Rome became spiritual Israel in the sense that it birthed and flourished the church of Christ, the church of God, the Christian religion, and it spread it to everywhere on this planet. So I linked it to that, and that was my explanation of why I believe the stories of these men parallel. But I went my way, and the thoughts started coming back, like, why is it that they link so succinctly? Till I started remembering some things that I learned in the book of Yasha. And whilst I was on a bus coming home, I was remembering those things that I learned in the book of Yasha. And I was trying to depict the very one who was the source of it all. And I realized, or rather, I noted when I was reminiscing about the video previously, that the link between Rome and the nation of Israel was actually deeper, much deeper than just that of them sharing the birth and the founding and the flourishing and the expanding of the same religion. It goes deeper into the core of actually how those two nations began. Now, in the Bible, God tells us how the nation of Israel was formed and birthed, in that Isaac had two sons, the elder one Esau and the younger one Jacob, and that Jacob had the birthright, but he didn't value it, and so his younger brother usurped it from him. And so after he had usurped the birthright from Esau, which became justly his, he fled away from his father to escape from his brother, went and married his two cousins, and after doing so, birthed the 12 tribes of Jacob, of Israel. That's how the nation of Israel was started. Through Israel, the son of Isaac. But Isaac had two sons, like I said, Jacob and Esau. Jacob got the birthright that his older brother didn't value. And so if you know the Bible, you know that Esau was a womanizer. He was a fornicator. And later on, he linked himself to the Horites, who were neighbors to him. And the two nations intermarried and pretty much became one. And also linking himself to the Horites, he also adopted gods who went the one true God that his father Isaac worshipped. So Esau was birthed in the religion of Abraham, but he went away. He didn't honor the God of Abraham and went and started to follow and serve idols. But his younger brother stayed in the faith. So we know the birth of Israel, and we know what Esau did, and we know where Jacob and Israel went from there. But people, or most people, don't know much or anything about the other side. That's what I realized. I realized that even in the sense that Rome was the house of the religion of Israel, the religion of Christ, he actually, or she actually, had a full link to Christ and Israel before Christianity. That's what I realized. And I realized that a link to Israel before Christianity came through the brother of Jacob, Esau. That's the mystery that people had no clue about. People have no knowledge about. That people don't even put together. It does not even cross their minds. So I actually noted that Rome, more than being a house of the religion of Christianity, was actually, and I'll explain, in the sense that when I read the book of Yasha, I read about histories in between Israel becoming a nation and from when it was seeded. And he tells us in a time when Jacob and his 70 sons had gone to dwell in Egypt and were waiting for the 440 years or the 400 years before they could go and take the inheritance. The book of Yasha actually depicts some of the history in between that time. And one of them was, which is the thing that I was thinking about trying to understand or remember when I was on that bus. I was trying to remember who was the son of Esau that went. Like I said, Rome had a link to Israel before Christianity. And the link was that Rome was actually a spiritual daughter of Esau. Rome was a spiritual daughter of Esau. Because the history was in the book of Yasha, chapter 62 and 63. The history was that the son of Eliphaz, Zepho, and Eliphaz was a son of Esau. He was a mighty warrior, a mighty fighter. After several battles with the children of Israel, before they went into Egypt, and after their defeat, after Israel had conquered them several times, and also after many other battles, it wasn't all of Israel. Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, was received by the children of Chittim. Now, if you know the Bible, Daniel refers to the children of Chittim, and I believe chapter 11, when he refers to the king of the north and the king of the south. And the story of the king of the north and the king of the south is actually a saga. You may have heard preachers preach about that Daniel chapter 11 scenario, on this and on that and on that, because I believe that chapter, taken metaphorically or anti-typically, can refer to any spiritual king of the north and king of the south. But in Daniel chapter 11, Daniel mentions, when referring to the wars between those two, the king of the north and the king of the south, that in the midst one of them, one of the kings were stalled off by the ships of Chittim. And what I know is that Chittim, that Daniel refers to, was the ancient name for the people who lived in ancient Rome before it became the nation of Rome. Chittim was their ancient name. So when Daniel referred to the ships of Chittim, he was referring to the ships of Rome. So with Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, he fled to Chittim, Rome, and he was made a king of Chittim. And a time came when the people of Chittim were to face a great battle with an enemy far greater than they were. And they knew for sure sakes that they were finished. They weren't going to survive. That's when Zepho came in, and he led them to a victory they could not have won. And they won that victory because Zepho prayed to the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, to the God of his fathers, for God to deliver them. And they won and attained victory in that war, in that battle. And when they attained victory, the book of Yasha says that Zepho, though God answered his prayer and delivered him, lived in a manner of Esau. He lived like before because Esau wasn't sincere with his God. He lived like in a manner before, like God never did anything. But yet, that is a link between Chittim and Rome and the children of Israel. So, seeing as the nation of Rome had their existence and their continuation through the son of Esau, it became apparent, and I understood when I remembered this history, why the three kings of Israel and Caesar, Pompey, and Augustus, why their lives paralleled so. It became apparent that Rome, though a different nation, was pretty much a brother or a sister to the nation of Israel. Through that Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, and the God of Abraham and Isaac were the reason why that nation still existed. The book of Yasha made it plain that had it not been for Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, Zepho, the descendant of Esau, and that Zepho knew the true God. He didn't worship him, he knew him. That nation would not have been. So that meant that spiritually, Rome was the nation of Esau, the nation of Edom. And since Rome was spiritually the nation of Edom, Rome was spiritually the brother of Israel. The nation of Rome was a sibling to the nation of Israel. Those two nations were already in line. They were related. They weren't outsiders. They weren't foreign, but they appeared to be foreign. They appeared to be outsiders. Because the only reason why they existed was because the Lord God saved them through a descendant of Abraham. So, because Esau and Jacob were related, so then the Lord made it that as the nation of Israel was established by the three kings, King Saul, King David, and King Solomon, that the nation of Rome would also be established into the glory in a manner like Israel was established unto its glory. That was the reason and of course of why the nation of Rome and the nation of Israel, both of them three greatest political military leaders, were in type practically alike, because spiritually they were siblings. That is what I discovered, what I learned. And when I was on the bus coming home and I was trying to remember who it was who actually went and became king of the Romans before they were Rome and saved them from the destruction that would have been this. That is what I was doing. I was trying to remember the name of that son of Esau who went there. And his name was Zephyr. I believe the Bible mentions his name. So yeah, the nation of Rome was spiritually the daughter nation or the son nation of Esau. The two are alike, which is, I believe, why when the nation of Rome became the last nation in the nations of Daniel, that is why it was the nation that legalized Christianity. It was the nation that adopted the Christian faith. They could not throw away the Christian religion because in as much as they did not know, they were still spiritually sons of Israel. So being already spiritual sons, they were to naturally adopt the same religion. It wasn't by chance that Constantine legalized the religion of Israel, the religion of Christianity. And it also wasn't by chance that even as Esau was an idolater and a fornicator, that the nation that had a stamp on it also became spiritual adulterers and idolatrous, because the heart of Esau was in it and the ways of Esau were in them. And Esau, he knew the true God. He had a birthright by him, but he didn't value his true God. He didn't honor his true God and started to worship false gods alongside him. That's how he became lost. Because though he knew the true God, he did not love him and serve him with his whole heart. I believe that when Christ refers to when he comes separating the sheep and the goats, that's spiritually referring to his people. He's referring to those who are his through the way of Jacob and those who are his through the way of Esau, because both were his sons, but they did not live the same way. Esau was wild. He loved his God only so much, but to do as he willed. Whilst Jacob was meek, he was humble enough to serve and follow his God the way that his God required. In the end times, God's people will be divided, as Christ says in the book of Matthew, to the sheep and the goats. The sheep on his right hand, the goats on his left hand. They will be divided like Jacob was from Esau. Yeah. And also on a side note, the nation of Islam is also a nation of Esau, whilst they are the spiritual sons of Israel and Esau, they are also the physical sons of Jacob and Esau. These things go together. And that is what people will come to learn and understand in the last days. How God has ordained and established his people and their ways, and how about the good. I pray that God will bless you with this revelation and use it in a way that even you would not understand. I pray that God bless you all and keep you in Jesus' name. Stay blessed. And don't forget, don't just read books like I do without knowing what you're doing. Bye.